Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show here from Studio B on Wednesday night, the D2 Sports Network and South Jersey Glory Days. Myself, Mark Tribble, and my esteemed partner, colleague, friend, former coach, championship winning coach, Tim McEnany.
Yeah, thanks, Trib. It's good to be here.
Yeah, you feel good after that?
Never
hurts.
It doesn't hurt, but it feels like it's forever ago.
It does. I was thinking that we were at Rowan for Bow at the Beach, and I was thinking about that game, and
8 years.
So it was a long time ago.
Yeah, those kids now are 26,
yeah,
7.
Some of them will be coaching soon, I'm sure.
No doubt, already. Yeah, some are. So good guys, good kids. That's what you need to win football games in high school. Yeah. You need good players, and if they're good kids,
yeah,
it becomes not only really fun, but it's very doable.
You need good coaches like yourself.
I'd rather have players than coaches, Trip.
Jimmy's and Joe's over X's and O's?
Jimmy's and Joe's over...
Jordan Davis over a good special teams coach?
You give me Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, I can do some... and Jihad and Zach... I can do some things as a defensive coordinator.
You have a long career.
And if you give me AJ and Devontae and Saquon in the backfield and Jalen as quarterback, I can...
Heck of a... Yeah.
You know, it's funny how...
Heck of a game.
You mentioned that. It's... As years went on, it's funny how I was told I became a smarter coach as I had better players. Right. Mac, you can do more things. I'm like, yeah, I got more players.
It is a lot easier.
Yeah.
I have noticed that. Usually but the better teams have better players.
Better teams tend to have better players, but also it's when they're good kids and good players, especially, I say high school level, college level, all levels. There is a thing, there is chemistry, there is camaraderie, that's a real thing.
Yeah, and Vito, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, coaches have told me this a lot, but Vito from Bergen Catholic, when I talked to him after the Winslow game a couple weeks ago, he said all the teams I had, the teams that were the best, were the teams that were player-led teams.
Correct.
Where the players took the onus, the players,
right.
They led the charge, and I was just guiding them there, right? It came from the inside. And that's true. I hear that all the time, that if you have a team with good leaders and they run the room, a lot of times those are your most successful.
And when your room is run by the D lineman,
yeah, that's good.
That's a real good thing. Or O lineman.
Good place to start.
It's a good place to start when your bigs run the show.
I'm not sure you want your room run by wide receivers.
Nah.
I think you want the guys up front. Right?
I mean, look, listen, you gotta spread the wealth, right? You gotta give it. You got a lot of cards to deal, as we used to say, but. Look, if you can get everybody in that, and it becomes easier to coach too.
Yeah.
The kids get it. You got to be a pain in the neck sometimes to be a good coach. It's not every day is fun, breaking chops. It's a little bit like parenting, right? Discipline's love.
And I can attest that you are a pain in the neck sometimes, so that's why you were a great coach.
Well, I don't know about that. There's a lot of people that can attest that I'm a pain in the neck, or maybe even lower.
I want to welcome everybody in tonight and talk about our presenting sponsor, the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has donated close to $100,000 to date. And dedicated themselves to helping others with these causes, such as National Football Foundation, Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey, of which I am the president. Thank you, guys. They also donated to the charity Philly Faces. Thank you, West Jersey Football Coaches Association, for your sponsorship of the show. Also, shout out to our buddy Dave O'Sullivan, sjglorydays.com. South Jersey Glory Days magazine. Sully's been doing it for a while. If you're watching on Facebook, this is his site. You got Brian Tortella, myself, Sully, putting up game stories, all types of stuff through the fall and the scholastic school year for Sully and Brian as well. So thank you all for your help and sponsorship and putting a platform up for us to broadcast. Of course, always thanks to Rod Self, Studio B, D2 Sports Network. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching through Rod's YouTube page there. Everything's great. We're ready to go, Mac, and I'm going to talk about the game I saw last week, the game of the week. Was Winslow at St. Augustine Prep.
A lot of dudes, huh?
A lot of dudes. In fact, Larry Johnson, James Franklin, they were in the house as well. The helicopter came in from Penn State to take a look at a couple of players. I'll tell you what, Winslow wins this 19-6.
That's a little flex, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little flex.
I mean, they know who Penn State is, right?
I've seen it before, right?
I've seen it too.
It's worked, right? Like I think they've got some linebackers in the linebacker U by landing on the field next to the stadium.
They figure it out.
But I'll say this: there's a 19-6 win for Winslow. A couple guys I want to shout out here first. Karan Ali, he got the hat. Great defensive effort by him. Coming into the game, Miles Nash and Kareem Ali, Karan's brother, talked about we got to bring him into the box. We got to bring him down. We need that extra man against that prep running attack. We need this guy in there. Now, Karan's not the biggest guy in the world. He's going to Towson. Tremendous athlete, tremendous athletic family. Great people, too. He comes down the box, puts his nose right where it needs to be on the football all night long. He really led the way for Winslow. Defensively, they gave up 47 yards in the second half, very stingy. You got the feeling in talking to Coach Belton after the game, he's still not happy with where the offense is. But the defense able to kind of own the game while the offense figures it out. I think the offense had one tremendous drive to start the second half where they scored in 79 seconds, 80 yards in 79 seconds. A lot of Nakeem Powell, a big pass to Boomer Helton. But really, Mac, it comes down to defense, and can you weather the storm as the offense figures it out? I mean, I know we were joking in the beginning of the show, but same with the Birds on Sunday, right? The defense forces field goals. The offense figures out in the second half and starts scoring. 6
field goals, and they made 4, right? Yeah. So they technically, you could say they left. Now, kickers now kick from a different planet nowadays. You couldn't guarantee 7, but you figure they convert 2 of them. That's 8 more points. So to your point, holding teams in the NFL to field goals is a win.
Yeah.
High schools aren't as proficient in kicking field goals, but playing defense travels. Look, defense, good defense, and you bring. Man, I wasn't at this game obviously, but I would be licking my chops because you put another kid in the box like Karan. So he's not a small kid, right? He's not your prototypical linebacker for Winslow size-wise.
Right.
But look, he's a great high school football player. He was probably excited as heck to play that position that week because that 8th in the box is the unaccounted. That's the bonus player.
That's the guy who gets to run, find the ball.
He's a free runner.
Right.
And now again, if you start too high differently, coming from different angles. But if you deploy 8 to start, or rocking down on cadence, having a kid like that who can sniff it out, you're not really accounting for him. Mm-hmm. I remember you talk about I was at Holy Cross in 07 and 08. And Mark Singer, who went on and played at Toledo, was a safety at Toledo, and his whole career he was a deep safety. And we were able to, when you could bring him in the box and be that, he wasn't a linebacker body, but he was athletic, he was tough, he could get to the ball, and he wasn't accounted for. So when you can bring a kid, we did it with Tobolski at Lenape, right? You can drop the safety. You don't have to just bring him into the traditional strong safety side. You can drop him. You can drop him in the. Have them be in C-gap responsibility from the high safety spot and kick your backers one way or the other. So there's some things you can do with a dude like that who can make those plays. So, credit to Winslow on the defensive side of doing that and stopping the perennial run-grinding Augie and Coach Lancetta business.
I thought it was a telling moment before the end of the first half. St. Augustine is down in the red zone. Think about going for it, 4th down, call timeout, decide to kick. At that point, it's 7-6. I thought at the moment was probably the right call. They weren't on the goal line exactly. But when you look at it, you say, I don't know if they would have gotten in there, maybe. But Winslow's defense was that good to kind of tip the cap and say, we'll take the points while we're down here. Just they never really threatened to get down there again. And I think Winslow showed that, in order to really bounce back from the weeks that they had, and they lost 2 of their first 3 against national teams. If you watch the show, you know exactly what happened in those games. But to recalibrate and say, guys, defensively, we're going to stand tall, because Starfin was great up front. Benji Carter, another guy, great up front. You look at the secondary that they have. I think they just really centered in on the task at hand And they were exemplary all night, so big shout out to them.
And, you know, when you talk about kicking inside, I mean, it's always tough, right? We can sit here, the pundits can sit here and say, well, the coulda, shoulda, woulda, hindsight's 20/20, all that stuff. I mean, there were games where you went in and going, this is not going to be a field goal game.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be a high-scoring game always.
Right.
You're sometimes saying to yourself, we're not going to be down here again too often, right? We're not going to have opportunities to get down here in these situations to, you know, so maybe we might have to take that shot and try to put in the end zone, knowing we got a pretty good defense on our side, and then you flip the field. Like, look, I'm not second guessing, you know, but what I'm saying is there are those conversations of saying, hey, we need a touchdown in one of these situations.
Yeah.
I used to say to myself, man, if we were in the red zone or inside, not red, but if we got inside the 10 the second time and we had kicked the field goal the first time,
go.
I want to score.
Yeah.
I want to score. I wanted to score a touchdown. And then you got a good kicker on the sidelines who wants to get out there too. He wants to do what he does, and that's the juggle too. You know, and because we watch TV, watch college, watch the NFL. It's almost like they hit the button, right? Okay, besides our Eagles, but okay, kick.
Yeah.
Okay, kick. You know, and sometimes you got to say, hey, we need to get the extra 4 points here.
Yeah.
We got to go get them.
I don't think you look at it and say how Winslow's offense was functioning in the first half, which was not, I mean, they were not efficient. You're thinking, okay, maybe this does turn into a little bit of a bare knuckle boxing match in the second half. Winslow being able to score early in the second half on that quick drive, and then they put together another scoring drive later. If you came into the game and said, you definitely need 20 points to beat Winslow, even if they don't play well offensively, right?
Right.
And 20 would have got it done. But 6, if you said, well, can you beat them with 9 points or 12 points? I'd say no. Even if Winslow plays horrible, they're going to score 2 touchdowns.
Right.
You
know you got to
get to
17.
double digits.
Well, you got to
right.
get the 17.
Scores, yeah.
You got to get the 17. You need 3 scores, no doubt. Whether it's 3 T's or you need 17. However, you could get to 17. So you're right.
It was a great game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's number 1 versus number 2. Number 1 hangs on. Winslow will be number 1 again this week at South Jersey.
You already?
I'm gonna go ahead and reveal that. I'm sorry if I spoiled the surprise. Rob, what do you got?
I just had a question for you. You were at the game. Do you think those 2 games that were played earlier in the season kind of contributed to them with the slow start or just trying to figure out who they really are? I mean, you're playing national powerhouses. You're trying to do some things to win those type of games. Now you're back home playing a good team. Does that kind of,
I think a little bit, but it changes, and this is my opinion, is when you play Bergen or you play IMG up front, they're so big. You're not going to come out and just run the ball on these guys. You got to have the short pass game. You got to have the slants. You got to do something to loosen things up, and then and I'll say this, and I think Nakeem Powell is one of the best overall players we have in South Jersey, but he's not a traditional bell cow back. He's not like we've seen Julian Turney in the past, or Jonathan Taylor, these big guys, or Bayshaw Tootin, where it's like, so
right,
you got to kind of, you can't just give it to him 30 times and say he's going to bust into that size of line.
You can't give it to him straight ahead. Like, you got to figure out how different, like the swing pass, the shootout.
And he can get to the outside, his vision, but against a team that's, and St. Augustine's still a very big team, but they're not IMG or Bergen. And when they came out in the second half, they gave it to Powell. Boom. He runs for 15. They give it to Powell again. Boom, he runs. So figuring out that formula of run him, and then hit him up top with Helton, get down the red zone, you got a number of options now. That's different to me. Like, that's a formula you learn in the second half of this game that you couldn't go into IMG and Bergen and say, we're going to run Powell first, second, third down. You have to loosen him up. So I think, Rod, to your point, maybe you don't come out of that with your blueprint for the rest of the season, but you may have found it in this prep game of, let's start with 21, get him the ball, and then from there, we can utilize these guys on the outside, and we can use Parker's great arm, which is I think, Powell's as good as it gets in terms of finding holes.
They're not gonna face anybody any better. You're not going to face anybody any better.
Right.
They're not going to be size-wise. They're going to face a bigger team. They're not going to face a more talented team, A to Z on the roster. Do you pass to set the run, or you run to set the pass? Some guys do it either way. And the good teams do it both ways.
Yes. And Winslow also has the luxury of being able to figure that out as they go along, because they have great receivers and they have a great running game. It's not, they don't just have one, they don't have to say, well, we got to start and end with the run always, because this is what the true overall strength is. They can be versatile. But I want to talk about identity for a second here in the game you saw, Mac, also. Seeing Shawnee and RV, a tight one. RV takes it 17-14. Savion Adams, quarterback, star player, still not playing for the Red Devils.
There's Lumberg.
Neither's Lumberg for Shawnee,
and,
so
and
two teams.
And a couple other guys.
Two teams dinged up, right?
Yep.
Jameer Bellamy goes 30 carries, 178 and a touchdown. J.J. Stewart runs for a touchdown. This looked like it was an old school football game. What did you learn about the identities of both of these teams?
You're right. It was an old school football game. They're both teams without their offensive weapons, finding a way. Interestingly enough, and you can look at it it's easier to sit back and watch a football game when you're. I don't want to say not emotionally invested. I'm double bubble, right? I'm not coaching, and my son is on the sidelines not playing. So I can take even a further step back. The final 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. It's kind of where the game. Yeah. Right? Shawnee goes down and scores. Shawnee does what Shawnee does. They control the ball. They got a big line. You got Cole Anderson. You got Joey Cleaver. They opened it up a little more throwing the ball. They did a lot more things offensively that were there. Because I know, some of the things that not always aren't there, which then loosened up a little bit. And Shawnee, we got a 7-0 lead. And the key drive of, I think, the whole game, and I think Coach Lucas alluded to this, was the drive before half. They got the ball on the 5-yard line, and they drove and got a field goal and points before half. And we say it all the time. Coach Martino, who now at the Camden Catholic, whenever you get points before half or you give up points before half, it is such a different, doesn't mean you're going to win or lose a game, but it can just, so the points before half were the 3, and then they got the ball, they scored to make it 10.
On the bookends, yeah.
And the bookend score is always, man, in our place, we love deferring, right? If we love deferring, and we could score before half, whatever it was, a field goal, something, getting some screwy points. And then you get the second half, you get the ball to start the half. And that's what put up, that put up RV 10-7. And then Shawnee, battles back. It was a really, really hard-fought football game. When Shawnee had to throw the ball, the bookends, speaking of bookends on a different side, the RV's DNs, Beasley, he is a dude.
He's a monster.
Remember Carter's play the other night, running down Stafford? I stopped.
Davis, yeah.
I paused the TV and I made Tom watch it again with me. He's like, Dad, it's Stafford. He's 38 years old. I'm like, Tom, he's 38, but he still runs a 4.8, 4.9. He's still a pro quarterback. I don't care. I go, that guy weighs 350 pounds. And we see it. It was a little foreshadowing, but seeing now, Beasley, a different body type, but that motor and his length, he just when he wants to get there, he can't get his hands on him. He controls the edge. So he had to play a little more conservative in the beginning of the game because run teams, counter teams, they kind of want you to get upfield a little bit so you can kind of get under them. There's an old adage, right? Sometimes run at a best player because that kid's trying to do some different things. He's getting up. You can trap that kid. You can not block him. You can read him. Like, what are we going to do with this kid this week, We're not going to do anything. Let's not block him and leave him alone, and we read him and see what he does. Right. And if he goes down, we go out. We go out. He goes out. We go in. You kind of play off that with the extra blocker. But he's a special player. Really hard-fought football game. Tough loss from Shawnee. Great win, RV on the road, and these are going to be 2 playoff teams come down the road, no doubt.
RV continues to get by without Savion at quarterback, and they've got another tough test this week. We'll talk about. They have another one in a couple weeks. We'll talk about, and I think they still play St. Augustine at some point. So RV really, you look at their schedule this season, they tested throughout. And they've been up to the task. Again, we come back to, we talk about Winslow defense holding the fort. RV the same way, right? Until their dynamic playmaker comes back on offense in Beasley and Agonsola at linebacker. Those guys setting the tone, and Bellamy running the ball. I mean, like I said,
yeah, he controlled. Yeah,
30 carries, 178 and a touchdown. Don't complicate it, right? Feed him.
Well, that's
Let him be the bell cow.
That what's happened at the end of the second quarter. Like you're sitting there going, yeah, you got to believe that Coach Lucas walks over and says, if he's not calling the plays directly, he's saying, yo, we got number 4. Yeah. And that's a dude. I mean, he's not the biggest back, but he's shifty, he's tough, he gets the extra yardage. The third down conversions are killers, right, for defenses, right? You get a good first, you get a second, and they convert on third. Then the third down conversions always were a kick in the gut. And, good teams convert third downs.
We got a good show ahead, Mac. We're going to talk about some good teams here. We got a lot of good stats to talk about, too, from last week. So good knots of the week as well. I want to shout out the people we have here in the Facebook chat because you guys show up every week for us. Chris Baker, who helps put together the stats. Kevin Emmons as well. They had their show By the Numbers. You be sure to find that on the D2 Sports Network page. They interviewed running back at Burlington Township. Binns, is that the name? Right? We're going to talk about him also. I want to talk about him this week. Mm-hmm. Garrett Lucas, RV head coach. So both of them. Shadid in here. Jason, Mr. Pettiford's always in here. Gary Smith. Hector, good to see you, man. Hope everything's well up in North Jersey. So the crew is in the chat. We got a lot to talk about. So stay tuned. We'll be back with our second segment, looking back at last week, right after this. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated close to $100,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Capstone Medical Services, a dedicated team of experienced healthcare professionals with a strong presence at the youth, middle school, high school, collegiate, and post-collegiate levels. They specialize in athletic training services and sports medicine for youth, high school, collegiate, and adult sports, event EMT and paramedic coverage for events and gatherings of all types and sizes, ensuring everyone's safety, injury prevention and workplace injury programs for commercial and industrial organizations, American Red Cross training, ideal for coaches, youth group leaders, church organizations, businesses of all sizes, and school districts. At Capstone, they are committed to delivering exceptional medical services that exceed expectations. No team will work harder or more passionately for you or your athletes. They proudly serve athletes of all ages, schools, businesses, and event organizers, ensuring the health and safety of every individual in every setting. Whether on the field, at work, or during special events, Capstone's here to protect, support, and serve because your safety is our top priority. To learn how Capstone Medical Services can support your school, organization, or event, call 855-EVENT-CMS or visit capstonemedicalservices.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley alone. And I've had the opportunity to be around Mike Fody, the owner, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up a number of Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They also contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com.
Enthusiastic about football? Become a part of the NJFOA South Football Association and team up with us to officiate high school football. Join us on the field. Our cadet class kicks off in March. Register on our website or by scanning the QR code in this ad. Put the stripes on and join us on the gridiron today.
Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Mark Tribble here at Studio B, and let's talk about some of the action last week. We're going to run through some of the top scores and stats from South Jersey. First, last Thursday, let's start right there. Triton beats ACIT 26-7. Big night for John Pettigrew, 21 carries, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Mustangs beat ACIT. In a battle of unbeatens in Burlington County, Burlington City beats Riverside easily, 42-8. Mason Shanzy, 4 for 8, 123, 2 touchdowns through the air. He runs for 1, 2. Dante Davis, another big stat line for him, 16 carries, 171 and a touchdown. And Javen Raspberry, one of the best names in South Jersey, really. 4 receptions, 113 and 2 touchdowns. Holy Cross beats Buna 35-30. Anthony D'Ambrosio, big game for him, 6 catches, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a kick return for score.
Who threw him to him? Riley?
Shane Riley, yeah. Can you imagine there's a Riley on Holy Cross? It's really hard to believe.
Go figure.
St. Joe beats Cumberland to stay undefeated 13-3. Lucas Sciano with 4 sacks. Gloucester beats Willingboro 25-15. Ibby Hudwell, 18 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pittman beats Haddon Township 28-7. Blaine Ackerman with a knock, kick return for touchdown. And Bridgeton shuts out Deptford 63-zip. Friday night, Mac, we had some good games here, but let's start with a game that's a little bit lopsided. Oakcrest 46, Middle Township 0. Zane Forrest 234 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Delran handed it to Northern Burlington 31-0. Vinny Sack 105 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He runs for 1. Justin Mary 4 grabs, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game for him. This one was close in the beginning, sent a lot of shockwaves around, those checking Twitter, checking the scores. Millville had an early lead on Washington Township, but the Minutemen do what they do. They come back and win 21-10. Cole Aquino, 11 for 19, 113 yards and a passing touchdown. He runs for 1 as well. Paris Pratt caught the touchdown. Colin Beeler ran for 1 also. Wildwood 35, Williamwald 6. Zaire Green led the effort for Timber Creek as they beat Williamstown 26-17. He ran for a touchdown and had a punt return for score as well. Axel Bailey. Isn't that, that's Axel
Foley.
But I hear this song in my head every time I read this name. Overbrook 48-6 over Florence. Axel Bailey. No bananas in the tailpipe. 16 carries, 211 yards.
2 references. I don't think anybody.
Axel Bailey probably doesn't know the reference either, but you know.
Well, Beverly Hills Cop. I'm aware.
Come on.
I got it.
Pensauken beats Vineland 33-13. Blowout win for Code Red and Coach Tapp. Maple Shade 22-8 over Pemberton. Burlington Township stays undefeated, 50-2 over Moorestown. Aiden Binns, 16 carries, 318 yards and 4 touchdowns. Gerald Sackey, 2 receiving touchdowns. Again, Aiden Binns was on the By the Numbers podcast with Kevin, Chris, and Rod. Go back and watch that. Chris Gilbert, Zane Forrest of Oakcrest is a freshman, going to be a problem. I believe it's his brother is at JMU, right? Yep. Okay, son of the coach, Mr. Coach Forrest doing a good job there with Oakcrest. Big one down at Absecon, 28-14. Camden comes back and beats Holy Spirit. Ahmad Jones in his first game since transfer, 8 for 13, 134 yards. He runs for a touchdown. Christian Braxton keeps doing what he's doing on the ground, 13 carries, 102 yards and a touchdown. Ibn Muhammad runs for a touchdown, kick return for touchdown. Mac, you saw Braxton run the ball 2 weeks ago, right?
Well, you can't. Look, this one, we talked about this last week. It was Camden coming off of the loss to Shawnee. Mm-hmm. But going down to Holy Spirit, which is...
Not an easy place to play.
No, it's not. Long ride, and, a lot of credit, right? The bounce back game, and you needed to get this game if you're Coach Hinson. So, well done. And, yes, Braxton is a Yeah.
He's a dude.
He's a guy. He's a guy I'd give the ball to a lot.
Kingsway shuts out Delsey 36-0. David Orovets 10 for 12, 147, 2 touchdowns, and he runs for a score. That's an efficient night for David and the Dragons. Cherry Hill East shuts out Egg Harbor Township 50-0. Dylan Haddock has a rushing touchdown and a pick 6 for the Cougars. Eastern 28, Cherry Hill West 6. Terry Cook 4 receptions, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's had an impressive season. He keeps it going. Bordentown 21, Lawrence 0. Atlantic City 26-0 over Ocean City in the Battle of the Beaches, not at the beaches, but I guess it was at the beach too. Jalen Day, rushing touchdown, receiving touchdown. Dante Thompson with a punt return for score as the Vikings rebound from that loss to Cedar Creek the week before. Here's the stat line for you. John Franchini, whose mother sponsors the Knots, right? We'll give another Franchini shout out here. Johnny Franchini, 12 for 12, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air as Mainland beats Cherokee 42-21. Now, I don't know the specifications, but Mac, I'm pretty sure that would be a perfect quarterback rating.
Well, I was just going to say, what's the QBR, right? 12 for 12, 216? That's pretty good.
There's nowhere to subtract 12 for 12.
Right, no doubt. And I'm going to go with some math, right, real quick. He's throwing, we're talking almost 20 yards. 20 yards. A little less then.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not a bad day at all.
Big game for Johnny Football and the Mustangs. 42-21 at Cherokee. Cedar Creek 41, Hamilton 7. Frenchman Bethea 6 for 8, 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. He runs for a touchdown. Amir Dunbar, you talk about bell cow backs. He is one of them. 11 carries, 146 and a touchdown. And Jameer Campfield grabs 4 balls, 162. 3 of them go for score.
Franchini's like, Ma, you want your name mentioned on Frenzy? I'll just go 12 for 12.
Right.
Well, we'll just, that's how we'll do it each week. I'll get on.
Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, you keep going 12 for 12.
I think he just committed to Penn, I believe, to play play football. What's the other?
Sprint
football.
Oh, good for him. That's a great. That's an unbelievable league.
He's had a heck of a career, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously a pretty bright kid.
Yeah.
Really bright kid. Not even pretty. Yeah. Really bright kid.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And I think Jerry McConnell still coaches Sprint Penn football.
Oh, yeah, I think you might be right.
There's a little side. I'm sure we'll be corrected in the chat soon enough if I'm wrong.
No, that's not true.
No, Mac, you're behind like everything.
Pleasantville beats Paul the 6-0. Highland shuts out Clearview 35-0. Battle of Unbeaten, Sterling and Gateway. Sterling wins 35-14. Gary Battaglini. I hope I got it. 13-17, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jermaine Stewart carried 22 times for 160 and 2 scores. West Deptford 58, Camden Catholic 14. Cole Paskowitz 5 carries, 119, 2 touchdowns. Zamir Davis runs for 2 touchdowns, and Bryce Wynn runs for 2 touchdowns. Haddonfield beats Seneca. This was a game we talked about last week. The Haddons get it 14-11. Van Lafakis 8 for 11, 180 yards and a touchdown. Mike Keenan's had a big year. 4 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Haddonfield 14, Seneca 11. Big win for Coach Delano and company.
Saw some highlights. Keenan, he's been playing for a while. He's a really good athlete, really good receiver. You got to cover, 4 catches, 130. That's
pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good day. 30 plus per. That's
economy.
Yep. And Seneca's, they put up a good defense out there too. Yeah. So. Kudos to Haddonfield with the big win.
Saturday, Paulsburg gets up big early, beats Collingswood 48-28. Malachi McKenzie 7-15, 189 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jeremiah Carr caught 2 of them. Woodbury beats Woodstown 42-6. Dale Thomas 4 rushing touchdowns for the Herd. Pennsville beats Audubon 22-17 on the strength of Ryland Hardy's 2 rushing touchdowns. Eustis 40, Mastery Charter 6. Big game for Eric Beach. He throws for 4 touchdowns, and Delano Mann 2 receiving touchdowns and a punt return for score. Clayton had 4 different players have a rushing touchdown as they beat Gloucester Catholic 40-0. Glassboro tops Salem 42-zip. Xavier Sabb, one of the best players in the country in the junior class, 4 receptions, 107 and a touchdown. Also had a punt return for score. JoJo DeLisi runs for 2. Lower Cape May 33, Absegami 7. Cinnaminson 14, Haddon Heights 0. Shalleck beats Pensgrove 28-8. East Side beats Lenape 26-3. Naeem Dale throws for 257, 3 touchdowns. Elijah Satchel doing what he's doing. He has a sack on defense and he catches a score. Kip Cooper, Norcross Academy beats Palmyra 48-0. Davion Ross, Waynes, big day for him, 179 passing, 2 touchdowns, and he ran for 2 more. Now we're time for Knots of the Week. All right, Rod, wind it up, man. Let's wind this up. Knots of the Week. We got a couple good ones for you this week.
Oh, every knot's good.
Yeah, all knots are good.
There's not a bad knot.
Here we go. Location, location, location. There's no better location than the football field, but for all your other real estate needs, call Ashley Franchini. Do not make a mistake when you're looking for real estate, folks. Reach out to Ashley at 609-233-6116 or at franchinirealestate.com. Thank you, Ashley, for sponsoring the Knots of the Week. Location, location, location. Here we go. Anthony D'Ambrosio, Holy Cross Academy. He had a big game. I mentioned his stat line earlier. Look at him gets that high knees, gets out of that shoestring attempt, breaks down the field as Holy Cross remains unbeaten. The Lancers beat Buna. Now here we go. Ibn Muhammad. This one I would say is number 1. Camden at this point's down 14-0. They get this big kick.
Yeah.
The next thing you know is 14-8. They scored 20 more unanswered to win this game. Ibn Muhammad is one of the best players I've seen this year in South Jersey for Camden High. I mean, excellent, excellent player.
Most kicks are returned right up the gut.
Now, here's a shout-out, Mac. Here's a guy. This is a JV, Terrence Freeman. We saw this clip. Thank you, Sully, for sending this our way. This is a week for defensive tackles. Look at Terrence. Screen, bat it up. No, don't take that ball from me. I'm taking that ball, and I'm going to the house.
Wow.
This is the first JV clip we've shown, but I'll say this. Big T, Terrence Freeman of Delran, you deserve it, man. I want to thank Ashley Franchini for her sponsorship of the Knots of the Week. Some good ones. Coaches, be sure to send them in after your games. And now, Mac, I want you to talk about knots. I mean, there are a lot of knots, and I think Jordan Davis really had the knot of the week. I think everybody knows that.
Do I really have to even talk about, like, the NFL was all over the place about the block kicks, the block extra block field goals. 9 knots in the NFL this past weekend.
Unbelievable.
And 8 of the 9 won. The one that didn't win were the Jets, who the Bucks had a knot against them. So every team that had a knot won, except the Jets, who had gave up a knot. So ironically, we talk about how important it is, and and then the double bubble with the Eagles on playing every play. You look at the block field goal that Carter and Davis being in there on the first block, and then the second one again getting in there. They obviously look when you put 700 pounds of ham next to each other, and they're busting through those, the tight A gap there, making sure they don't touch the center. It's not like it used to be. You got to, even at the pro level, you got to lay off that center. You got to play every play. Every play, points matter, blocked field goals, and then scoop and score. And I was telling them, I'm sure, I'm not a Vegas guy, but didn't I think the block got the cover? The knot got the cover.
It did.
So your Philadelphia fans were a little extra excited. Not only they got the win with the block, they kind of, if they had a couple shekels on it.
It was a very interesting game, but it was a
Tail two halves.
To block 2 field goals in a row.
That's
now,
crazy. Yeah.
The guy who usually is blocking in that location left the game with an injury, so they knew the weak spot was going to be the backup. But they attacked him twice. I mean, this is
yeah, but he was in the first time.
Yeah, but
when they blocked it.
Yeah, but both times.
But they didn't go.
Their usual guy there left the game, and then they blocked 2 field goals over the backup.
Maybe so, but the first time.
But when you put those 2 guys over the backup,
so
that's
look,
a lot, like you said, that's a lot of poundage.
The first one was on the 1 hash, so Davis and Carter were all away from the hash, coming from this angle, against the guy who had the issues. The second one came from the right side. So they basically did the same scheme. They just did it from the defensive left on the first one and the defensive right on the second one.
Yeah, in that situation, what they did was essentially they jumped the guy, man. It was two guys that were close to 300 pounds on one guy, I mean, a guy couldn't do nothing, man.
Well,
And Carter jumped the snap perfectly.
I mean, they could do that every game.
Well,
you know,
yes,
just about.
and then the timing. Now, look, the kicker's got to get some trajectory going too. He's got to get it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you had just gotten one blocked earlier.
Yeah.
But I mean, and they got those two dudes got some paws on them. They're athletic.
Yeah.
Imagine playing some pickup basketball with Carter and Davis. You think
Yeah.
you're getting a rebound? Come on.
Yeah. You know, after the game, they were coming through the tunnel, and they showed like Jihad going to shake Jordan Davis' hand. Jihad's a big guy.
He looked
right?
small.
He looks small next to Jordan Davis.
Right.
I'm like, Jihad is 6'3".
Well,
and some change,
Yeah,
and he looks little next to this guy, man.
I always say to
Massive.
I always say to my son when we're watching games, I say to Tommy, I said, I'll pause it and I'll go, look at the referee. He's like, he's a midget. I go, or I go, Tom, that's a normal sized human.
Right.
I go, you have no idea what behemoths those guys are. And that can run, by the way.
Yes.
That can run.
It's always great talking about the Knots, man. It started out in the beginning. It's always persevered.
They're game changers.
There's always so many, especially in high school.
Yes.
I mean,
between
punts, kicks, blocks.
It was more culturally we got to a point with Woj and Henny and the defensive. You know, everybody kind of I'm the defensive minded coach too. So like you had Marty was our offensive balance smacking us around, where me, Henny, and Woj were just like defensive scores, field position, blocking kicks, blocking punts, getting short fields, Yeah. Parents would be like, Mac, you only had 200 yards of offense today. I said, we only had to go 30 yards, right? Yeah. You're blocking kicks and returning punts. How far are you going to go?
You guys always paid great attention to specials and defense.
Well, you had kids that would.
And you had
kids bought in. Dudes who bought in.
Yeah. Some of them played three ways.
Yeah,
Your
no
best
doubt.
Kids,
well,
right?
we did, yeah.
Volsky and
Dulong back in 16, he was notorious for blocking extra points. I remember he Wash, who's now a Camden Catholic coach, and he brought us into the gym Dulong's sophomore year. Dulong hadn't been starting yet, and he goes, "Go ahead, Mike, show him." Mike's a 5'11". He ended up going to Penn, by the way, and playing sprint at Penn. Mike goes up, 2 dribbles, boom, dunks the basketball, mid forearm, and Wash is like, and he's got to be back in our D-back somewhere. Like that was, he's like, Wash was like, told you. And Dulong was so unassuming, but he could time the snap. He would come most of the time from the right side, and he blocked a ton of PATs and field goals through his career, big time.
It's always good when you can get that extra boost.
Yeah,
and it's such a deflating play for the other team, especially in high school.
It becomes like a profit, like once your program gets a couple, now all of a sudden, Who's next? Yeah. I want one. I'm going to get one. And then I'm going to spring the big block, and then you're recognizing it. We used to do. Every team does it. The only player of the game that we would give out would be that we'd call it the hammer. Yeah. We didn't get out enough. Well, we had 3 things we did at every pregame before the next game. We gave it, who was carrying the American flag, who was carrying the Lenape flag, and then who got the hammer. And the hammer could be. We weren't really like, oh, we're gonna give it to who had 200 yards rushing or who had 150, passing, 200 yards, whatever. It was who made the play.
Right.
Like who was the guy? Who was the guy? Like when you look at a game and we talk about it, there's about 8 or 9 plays a game where you go, that one, that one. And we used to tell you never know when they are going to happen. But our hammer would go to the guy who made the play. The play, whatever that may be. It might have been a block kick. It might have been a springing a block on a kickoff. It might, you never know what's gonna, So if you can, culturally, you start getting kids getting excited. I want this. I want that. I can score. I can get a kick, scoop and score. All that fun stuff.
Well, hey, look, as a Virginia Tech alumnus, I mean now we're at the bottom of the barrel, but that's how for years, our starters were playing special teams, and other programs, their starters weren't. So the guy coming off the edge is one of your better players. You're blocking punts, you're running them in, and eventually everybody got hip to it, right? And
But along
They
those,
just have the same punt formation. They roll guys out. They did different things. They put their best guys.
yes,
Everybody started paying attention. Like, hey, they're scoring 7, 8, 9 touchdowns a year on block kicks. Maybe we should pay attention to it.
And
It's a phase of the game.
they count. And you talk about keeping players. It doesn't have to be. You don't always have to keep all the starters. The more volume you have with kids, if you have sophomores and juniors that are, especially on these better teams that are vying to get on the field some way,
To show what they're made of.
wow,
right?
we would look at sometimes we would be running out 7 kids on a punt return team, and we were at one point we're like, man, these kids at most schools they'd be starting,
Right.
and fortunately, it's a tough balance because you got to when you're winning and so it's when you get kids hungry to play special teams and do those things, it becomes really cool. You coach it up, it becomes important in practice, et cetera, et cetera. It's all the above.
Let's talk briefly, Mac. Let's look at some of the games coming up next weekend, and then we'll do game of the week and best 11 rankings in the final segment. But first, I've got some games here now. I will say there's games Thursday, Friday, Saturday. As of right now, I know some teams have changed when their games are going to kick due to weather, specifically on Thursday. So don't hold these times and dates to be 100% true. Don't come looking for me when you show up to a field and the game's already over. Thursday at 6 p.m., though, 3 games I have here. Unbeaten Paulsboro has a 3-1 Overbrook, little old school colonial clash. Paulsboro quietly undefeated. I think, obviously the play they've gotten out of Malachi at the quarterback position has been great. This is where the Raiders expected to be. This is where they usually are, right in the middle of the season. They're right in the mix. So they head to Overbrook. That's a big matchup. Eastside and Kingsway clash in a 3-1 matchup. Eastside's put together a couple nice wins, right? Kingsway, again, they have 1 loss. It was at Camden and a heartbreaker. They've played good ball. Oravets is playing good ball. Coach Hendricks is doing a great job down there, as always. So we got Eastside at Kingsway at 6 p.m. And St. Augustine at Mainland, 6 p.m. The item I have here, it says, just who exactly are these teams? I mean, we saw St. Augustine win out of state. We saw them take care of Cherokee and Paul VI. Last week, offense wasn't there. Defense kept them in the game, but this will be an identity week for them, right? Mainland, a team that's been peaks and valleys. Lose Atlantic City in the opener, right? They bounce back. Then they lose to Millville. And last week they bounced back again with a huge game, as we said, Franchini against Cherokee. So let's see what the week will reveal on those teams on Thursday. Friday night, I got 3 games here to watch. Pleasantville at Haddonfield, 6 o'clock. Pleasantville's a team. You look at their results. Again, always dangerous. They got some really good players. We'll see what happens with them. And Haddonfield coming off that Seneca win. They got a big one coming up soon with West Defford. Haddonfield piecing things together. They've been pretty darn good since losing the opener to Glassboro, which is nothing to shake your head at. Camden at RV, 6 p.m. Camden gets back on track against Holy Spirit. Quarterback's in the mix now. Braxton's running the ball. The Mohammedans are doing their thing. You see them turning the corner. RV, I don't know if Savion Adams is going to play or not, but they're hosting this game. And I don't know if Garrett said anything on the show or not, Rod, last night, but I know this will be a big one in South Jersey.
What he said was Savion Adams should be back sooner than they thought.
Okay.
I don't know if that was a hint.
Look,
But
you have to show up at 6 o'clock.
I believe they thought he was going to be out a lot longer for the season.
So that's good news for South Jersey fans.
Yeah, South Jersey fans.
Good news for Red Devils fans.
No doubt. And knowing little Coach Lucas, like I hope he doesn't say, like, he's gamesmanship, right? If he's ready, we don't know. If he's not ready, we'll see. I remember when we played, back in 16, we found out the Mangine kid was hurt for RV.
That's right.
And, and guess who they put at quarterback? Iverson Clement.
That's right.
Like,
the Wildcat.
Yeah, be careful what you wish, right? Well, I'm like, whoa, Jay got Clement at quarterback. He's like, yeah, thanks, Mac. I know exactly who it is.
So that'll be interesting, and that'll be a good game either way. We've seen RV be able to defense and running the ball, Bellamy being able to keep things rolling as Adams is out. And Camden, it was a big win. You're down 14-0 in the first half in Absecon. And as you alluded to, Mac, not an easy place to play, and I'm sure the grass was pretty long. You score
and wet.
Yeah.
And you score 28 unanswered to win that. That's a big win for a team that the last couple of games, right? The Shawnee game and the Kingsway game in state, a little discombobulated, right? A little bit inconsistent. To come back, have that return from Ibn, and the next thing you know, okay, clicking into gear, take care of business on the road. You got another road test here.
It could have went sideways quick, and they Camden right the ship, and it was good. Good win.
Saturday at 1 o'clock, a game that last year was one of our biggest games, and it happened twice. It was a state semifinal. Millville at Winslow, 1 o'clock. Winslow, obviously number 1 in South Jersey. Millville, a team, I don't think anybody really expected them to be up on Washington Township at the beginning of last week. They beat Mainland with a miraculous finish. But they're young, they're hungry. We've seen that, they're capable of getting some things together. Rob, what do you got?
Millville's having a tough year, but they're still good enough that they can upset a team.
Yeah.
So if you go down there sleepwalking, you will look up and wind up losing the game. I mean, we just saw them play Washington Township, and they were doing some things pretty good. Washington Township had to wake up and shifted into fifth gear.
Well, to your point, Mark, I mean, Millville, they're young, right? I mean, but they're playing football out of the womb down there.
Right.
I mean, so those kids who are young are getting they're keeping receipts right now, as we say. They know what's going on. They're good as the season goes on. They're going to get better and better because they're going to get used to the whole bit. It's different. You got freshmen and sophomores starting for you. These kids are playing youth football last year, right? Mom and dads are dropping them off at the field, right? They're getting dressed in the car before. They're not everything, right? Seriously, you got to get used to the bus ride. You got to get used to being in school all day before you play. You got to get, what are you going to eat? What are you not going to eat? There's a lot of things you got to get quote unquote used to, right? It's not like my mom's making me breakfast right here, and I'm going to go she's dropping me off at the field, So those things, sophomores, freshmen, juniors, and seniors have that stuff figured out, and then these kids can play, man. I mean,
right.
they're gonna be able to play.
And we're just seeing the last point I want to make about that is we're just seeing it in a whole as far as a lot of different teams. Yeah. It's life after, right? Mm-hmm. Insert said player. Life after Brooks. Yeah. Life after Brunson. Yes. You know what I mean? For Camden, mm-hmm. It's all these different life afters because guys that they were able to lean on, they're not there anymore. So coaches have to learn how to coach and figure out things without that life support. You
got to go back to a little bit like systems.
Right.
Like Millville has a system, but one of their systems was
get Brooks the ball.
Throw a quickie, throw a quick one to Brooksy, and he morphs himself into like some Keanu Reeves deal, and he's gone.
And to that point, though, also is. They had Blakowitz and Offer up front. They were 4-year starters.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And, when you saw 53 and 58
on the
tape,
coming.
you knew you had to find a way to get around them when you had the ball, and you had to get away from them.
Yeah. Dudes we would call sir, because we'd seen them.
Exactly.
We'd seen them so many times.
They had such a class of guys who came through, played 3 or 4 years there. That you're right, Rod. It is a reinvention, but now we're seeing, this is technically week 4, so this will be the 5th game for some teams. We're seeing teams start to coalesce and rise to the top. So, 2 teams I'm excited to see this week. You're going to have to wait till after this break to find out. In our final segment, we will go through the game of the week and our updated best 11 rankings. So stay tuned to the South Jersey Football Frenzy. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated close to $100,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Capstone Medical Services, a dedicated team of experienced healthcare professionals with a strong presence at the youth, middle school, high school, collegiate, and post-collegiate levels. They specialize in athletic training services and sports medicine for youth, high school, collegiate, and adult sports, event EMT and paramedic coverage for events and gatherings of all types and sizes, ensuring everyone's safety, injury prevention and workplace injury programs for commercial and industrial organizations, American Red Cross training, ideal for coaches, youth group leaders, church organizations, businesses of all sizes, and school districts. At Capstone, they are committed to delivering exceptional medical services that exceed expectations. No team will work harder or more passionately for you or your athletes. They proudly serve athletes of all ages, schools, businesses, and event organizers, ensuring the health and safety of every individual in every setting. Whether on the field, at work, or during special events, Capstone's here to protect, support, and serve because your safety is our top priority. To learn how Capstone Medical Services can support your school, organization, or event, call 855-EVENT-CMS or visit capstonemedicalservices.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley alone. And I've had the opportunity to be around Mike Fody, the owner, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up a number of Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They also contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com.
Enthusiastic about football? Become a part of the NJFOA South Football Association and team up with us to officiate high school football. Join us on the field. Our cadet class kicks off in March. Register on our website or by scanning the QR code in this ad. Put the stripes on and join us on the gridiron today.
Welcome back, everyone, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. I know people are watching on YouTube, people are watching on Facebook. You guys, be sure to share the show out because when you do that, it gives everybody access to not only our broadcast, but other shows and content on South Jersey Glory Days and D2 Sports Network. Got a lot of good stuff on all those sites. Everybody's working hard. So I know if you're watching this show, you're a diehard South Jersey football fan or New Jersey football fan, and there's some others that probably want to watch it too. So be sure to share that out with your friends. Everybody is, we're starting to get here, getting darker a little bit earlier, right? We're going to fall forward soon, I'm sure, and
You fall back.
or fall back. I'm sorry, we fall back. Sorry.
You're going to screw up everybody's clocks.
He's thinking about the tush push. You fall
exactly.
forward.
We get
Fall forward.
I look forward to that Saturday. I get an extra hour.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Oh my God, it's
I've
the
always
best.
loved it.
It was the best
but
in college, and now it's the best now.
Practices get out a little earlier. Everybody starts coming in here to watch and see what's going on.
Light.
The beginning of the year.
Light.
Yeah.
Glenn Howard and Clyde.
Some people.
No, Glenn Howard had the cars of the parents pulled up to the. Yeah.
That's true.
Lights. You make your lights or you have lights.
Talk about my game of the week here, Mac.
All right.
And looking at the games this week, I will say some of these really jump out, specifically that Camden and RV game. But I saw Camden a couple weeks ago, and I know I'm going to see RV moving forward. I may even see Camden again, too. So I really want to see a couple teams. I've been interested to see what they're doing, and a place I've never covered a game before. I've covered the team, but never covered a game at this place before. I did see them earlier this year at Battle at the Beach when they played at Rowan, and they won. It's going to be a battle of unbeatens. Burlington Township at Delran, 6 p.m. on Friday.
The Bears.
The Bears. Let's look at the tail of the tape.
Falcons Bears.
Falcons Bears, a big one. And tail of the tape here. Burlington Township's undefeated. So far, their average score has been a shade under 43 to a shade over 7. So they've been really rolling. Junior Aiden Benz, we talked about him earlier in the show. If you get a chance, go watch By the Numbers, D2 Sports Network. They interviewed Aiden last night. Look at these stats he has through 4 games, Mac. 58 carries for 790 yards and 11 touchdowns. 13.6 yards per carry. He has all but one of their rushing touchdowns. Freshman Gerald Sackey is another name to remember. 80-yard kickoff return score this year. 15 catches, 337 yards, 9 touchdowns. All 9 of the team's receiving touchdowns. So rushing and receiving, they have 21 touchdowns this year, and Binns and Sackey have 20 of them offensively. They're going to Delran. Delran has been no slouch themselves. I mean, I said Burlington Township's given up a little more than 7 a game. Delran's given up 7 all year. 128-7 has been their total score. Vinny Sack has thrown for 539 yards and 8 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns. Justin Mary Jr., 6 receiving touchdowns. Nick Peen, 5.5 yards per carry in the backfield. And Jack Jordan, 3 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 26 total tackles, and he had a nod of the week recently on this show with a pick 6. I think it was last week even.
And they had a JV nod of the week.
And they had a JV nod of the week with Big T, Terrence. There's a lot of brown and gold. There's a lot of black and Vegas gold. Burlington Township won this game last year 31-10. It was Delran's only regular season loss. Burlington Township's only regular season loss last year. This is Coach Steve Everett's first year at the helm of the Falcons, was to Hopewell Valley, and they ended up moving on to the playoffs. So I'm very interested. Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Jackson here in the comments. One of the big games of the week, of course, is Bergen and Bosco. But if you can't go to Bergen and Bosco,
what?
Yeah.
Up north, you might as well go to Delran and Burlington Township at Delran.
This is a South Jersey Frenzy show now.
That's what I'm saying. Not too many of us.
We've expanded.
Look, the Eagles are playing Tampa too. I mean, that's a big game.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Hey, that's a good game.
That's true.
Rod, who's Ohio State playing?
We'll wait to see these Bergen Bosco guys in the Big Ten next year.
Yeah, right.
We'll wait on that.
It is going to be a great game. We don't mean to. And we get a little punchy at this hour.
Get a little punchy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Burlington Township, Delran. I mean, this is now Delran's Group 2, Burlington Township Group 3. So no chance of playing in the playoffs, of course. But very interested to see both teams. I was very impressed with Delran early on. Everything I've seen, heard, watched, read about Burlington Township. Very excited to see them also. And not only that, I do want to mention this. At Captain's Night at the Touchdown Club.
Okay.
Delran's captains came up afterwards, thanked me. Burlington Township's captains came up, thanked me. So I'm like, you know what? They got a lot of good stuff going on at these programs, not just with the results.
They're thanking Trib.
Kids are handling themselves the right way.
Right.
I love that. Coach Everett, Coach Huco, 2 guys.
Good guys, good men.
Great guys.
Good stuff. They're teaching the right things.
Yeah.
They're good programs, good people. Delran plays really tough defense, letting up 7 the whole season. But Township playing good defense as well. You're gonna, taking the 1,000 feet look. Mm-hmm. Best player, best play. You're Delran. You got to stop Binns, right? Easier said than done. Got to stop Binns, stop Binns, stop Binns. I'm sure Coach Everett's like, hey guys, they're going to be planning to stop Binns. We got to be able to maybe do some other things.
I mean, you have this freshman in Sackey here.
Oh yeah.
And his brother, I believe, is a senior defensive lineman having a good year too. Or maybe linebacker. Sorry if I'm wrong on that. But the kid has 15 catches. 9 of them have been touchdowns. I mean, he's off to an incredible start.
No doubt.
For the season. And if you have a Saka on your team,
it's good bloodlines.
That's a good option to have too.
It's good bloodlines.
Burlington County, a lot of times when I've seen big showdowns in Burlington County, it has been, let's say, at RV, Lenape RV, or Shawnee Cherokee,
Right.
or, some of your usual customers. Burlington Township and Delran, I've seen some big games at Burlington Township, but to see these two play each other because of the scheduling, it's a good matchup.
No
They're
doubt.
different sized schools, but they're close. And
I was telling you off before, we used to play them every year at Eustis when I was at Eustis.
Yeah.
There were some brawls there, not brawls, good brawls, good hard football games every year. Played with them. We used to play Burlington Township often too. So good places to play, good fan support. As you said, the great kids, great coaches, doing the right things. They're going to come out. Both going to be well prepared, and it should be a pretty good football game.
Chris Baker in the chat, the older Sackey is a linebacker committed to Syracuse. See, I knew could have been linebacker. I know he gets in the backfield a lot. Sometimes those stats, you think, tackles for loss of tackles, this guy has to be a lineman. But
Making plays.
Sometimes you're just a dude.
Making plays.
You find the ball, it doesn't matter where it is. So
makes plays, has a younger brother that can fly, it looks like.
yeah,
Good stuff.
That's where I will be on Friday night, is at Delran, as the undefeated Bears host the undefeated Burlington Township Falcons. Best 11 rankings, Mac. Let's start with we went 1 to 11 last week.
Well, we already know.
Let's go 11 to 1 this week.
We already know who one is. You spoiled it. Well,
Anybody who watches this show knew who one was last Friday at about 9:30 p.m.
True.
Right.
Okay.
James Franklin, Larry Johnson, they knew who number 1 was. All right, best 11 rankings. We have a new entry to the best 11 rankings. It is at the 11th spot. Everyone else stays in the best 11 rankings, not necessarily in the same spot as last week. Some of them, most of them are though. Number 11, West Stefford, undefeated. We talked about the big win they had last week, 58-14. They put up some lopsided numbers. They have a big game coming up looking forward. I know nobody likes to look forward except us, but Haddonfield is down the road, another team that's right there in the mix for 11.
They're like 11 and a half.
Yeah.
11.5.
At number 10, Kingsway. They shut out Delsey last week, 36-0. They host East Side on Thursday. Number 9, Camden High. Big win, Holy Spirit. Again, another big game this week against Rancocas Valley. Shawnee at number 8. They lost to that aforementioned Rancocas Valley by 3 points. We talked about that in the open. Mac, was a close game. Certainly nothing to drop Shawnee for losing to RV. So they are at number 8. Cedar Creek remains at number 7. Burlington Township, who I will see on Friday night, is at number 6, as they were last week. Glassboro at number 5. Glassboro continues to put up a lot of points. The teams they play against continue to put up 0 points for the most part this year. Outside of the opener, Glassboro number 5. St. Augustine was number 2 last week. They lose that game to Winslow. Close game, good game. They drop to number 4. They play Mainland on Thursday. At number 3, we have Washington Township, who was at 4 the week prior.
Moving up.
They beat Millville last week, 21-10.
Because Augie moved out.
Because Augie moved down to 4. Number 2 was the team that was number 3 last week, Rancocas Valley. Still finding a way to win. We talked about Agonsola. We talked about Beasley on the defensive side.
Winning on defense.
Running the ball.
Doing some things without their main guy. Good football.
Big game for RV hosting Camden High on Friday night at 6 o'clock. Number 1.
Some of the Augie guys are probably like, well, why do we drop? We lose the 1, we drop the 4. You're going to get some mail. You're getting mail.
Definitely is.
He is.
It's coming.
You might even hear from Rakes.
He's in witness protection, Rakes. No, I don't. It's nothing against St. Augustine, but RV and Washington Township, I think those 3 teams at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Those 3 teams.
Right.
In fact, when we did our first rankings, 2, 3, and 4 had those 3 teams listed.
No doubt.
And we said, well, which one do we think is better now? Thought St. Aug in the beginning. They lost a game. RV keeps winning. Township keeps winning. They're going to play each other.
RV's in a tough spot.
RV's going to play St. Augustine.
We'll see. RV, Savion Adams, I hate to say it, but like, he's the best player on the team. And RV's a really good team, and he does a lot of things, or can do a lot of things. So, they're figuring it out with their other dudes, and which good. Come playoff time when he is back, being able to quote unquote survive without your guy, right?
Yeah.
Survive without your guy. That's what our Phils are doing. Without Wheels, right? They were surviving. Now, not these last week, but
if this is the year that you can go without your best player and kind of still win some games until he gets back. In past years, teams were so solid.
Yeah,
if you lost your best player, you were pretty much done.
Yeah, typically in high school, you lose your best play, as they say. My dad used to say, stop the best player. Keep it simple, right? If you can take their best player out of the mix and make a team play left-handed, as they say now, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's Belichickian, right? Belichickian would take away what you do best and make you do something else. Supposedly it was novel. I think my dad and his buddies were doing it 50 years ago. Corby and Tom Gordon and all those Jim Horner, they were doing that a million years ago, and still doing it. High school coaches, stop what they do well. Yeah. Easier said than done.
Colt over on the YouTube station says, "What's up with the Cherry Hill East disrespect? I see no difference between East and Burlington Township." Hey, East having a heck of a season again this year. Keep winning. They're a team that's right there in the mix. So
East, they
Colt,
have
no disrespect at all, man. But
who they play this week?
I'm not sure who East plays this week. Let's look it up.
Right, they're having a good year. I mean, look, we only do 11 because you can only play 11.
That's right.
They're our best 11. East would probably be what, 14, 15?
They could be 12, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
They have ACIT this week. Clearview, Cherry Hill West, Deptford. I mean, they're handling the teams they're playing, but the schedule has not been arduous. So.
And Bosco and Bergen aren't in ours because they're not South Jersey. They're up in North Jersey.
Thank you, everybody, for commenting and sharing the show. We appreciate when you spend your Wednesday nights with us.
Is Rod shaking his head at me?
The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Thank you again to Rod Self and his company, D2 Sports Network, the man behind the proverbial glass here, does it all for us. It's a great job. And I cannot recommend a first-class studio any more than Studio B. Contact him, and he'll hook you up with time for a photo shoot, podcast, anything you need. Mac, I hope you have a great weekend. Shout out also to Tommy. Keep recovering, man. Everybody out there, be safe. Enjoy yourself. Those celebrating the New Year, happy Rosh Hashanah. And
Happy New Year. Next week's happy Yom Kippur. Happy everything.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, go Phils.
We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. for the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. For Rod, Coach Mac, and myself, Mark Tribble, thank you for watching. Keep getting